Hey you guys, it's Lynnea. I am excited about the brand new Deco Foil Transfer Sheets release. So this is a fairy tale release of foils, and just a heads up, you're going to see me show you all 5 colors, but I am going to turn off my bright lights. I have bright lights that really brighten up my screen, but they were kind of playing tricks on the foil, so they looked like they were just rainbow foil instead of colors. So let's go through and look at all 5 colors. The pink is the Enchanted Rose, there's Peach Princess, Lily Pad, Glass Slipper, and Prince Periwinkle. I love these 5 colors. You can really see here with my lights off that they all have their own color, but they have that special holographic kind of rainbow shine when you tilt them in the light. So I had some people request on Instagram that I show how to use the foils and the flock and such like that. The enamels could be used in a similar way. They wanted to see it with a dry adhesive. So I'm going to be kind of going back to one of my favorite adhesives from ThermOWeb. These are the iCraft Easy Cut adhesive sheets, and my size are the 6x6, perfect for card makers. So I have a piece of just an A2 white cardstock. I'm going to cover this with that iCraft adhesive, trim off the excess, and so now I have double-sided adhesive on one side. You could do it for both sides, which might make it easier in the end, but I do want to give you guys a heads up. This card took me 3 days to complete. I just couldn't get it to look right no matter what I did. But if you know me, I like to work on something. I have a really bad habit of not giving up on a card, even when maybe I should. But in the end, I do kind of like the way this card turns out, even though it took me 3 days to get there. So I have this white cardstock with that double-sided adhesive sheet on it, and I am taking the Alt New Fine Frames cover die. There are lots of dies on the market right now that do something similar, where it just cuts out lots of itty-bitty rectangle frames. I'm lining this up, and I'm going to run this through my die cutting machine. And even with that iCraft Easy Cut adhesive, it's going to cut straight through, no problems at all. I am just going to use my little poker tool here because it has some dimension. There's the backer sheet, the adhesive, and my 110-pound heavy cardstock. It was stuck in my die, but that's perfectly okay. But you can kind of see here, look how fun it is, even all together in one piece. That would be super fun to do something like that. But I am going to start popping these pieces apart. And as I do, I have had this die for so long, and I've never used it, so shame on me. But I realized that there are 2 different size frames. Teeny tiny little skinny ones, and then more manageable ones that are maybe 1/8 of an inch thick. So I think there's 1/16 inches thick and 1/8 inch thick. The 1/16 that I'm kind of bundling up here, they were just too tiny. So I'm going to go with these. They're definitely thin frames, but I thought they were more manageable. Now there are 5 new colors in the fairy tale line of Deco Foil Transfer Sheets. So of course I'm going to use all 5 colors. And there are actually 6 of this size frame that cut with that die. So I just chose, I think I discarded, well not discarded, I set aside the largest die. All I'm doing is peeling back the backer on that Easy Cut adhesive, and to transfer the foil onto these frames, I am putting the foil pretty side up into the adhesive. So you saw me, it was easier because it's summertime and I don't have air conditioning, I have fans going in my house. So it was actually easier for me to lay the foil face down on my work surface and then place the adhesive into it. Whichever way you do it, you want to make sure that the adhesive is going into the back of the foil transfer sheet. So the silver side is what actually touches the adhesive. You should be able to see the pretty side. All I'm doing again, same thing, I'm just kind of going in rainbow order. So I started with the Enchanted Rose for the largest, and now I'm working with the Peach Princess. So again, just removing that backer from the iCraft Easy Cut adhesive sheet, and then I'm just going to put the new Deco Foil Transfer Sheet, this one's the Peach Princess, face up into the foil, and I'm rubbing my fingers along that adhesive to make sure I transfer that foil onto the adhesive. You don't want to use a bone folder or your nails because you're going to kind of get cracking in your foil. If you remove your foil and you find that you don't get a complete transfer, I just kind of lay it back over and give that another little rub with my finger, And look at that. I'm going to repeat this process with all 5 frames. So you can see here I have all 5 colors of those fairy tale foils on here. And then I'm going to use some iCraft Ultra Bond liquid adhesive. And I do have the ThermOWeb fine tip on my bottle, which made it really easy to apply these fine frames. Now you could add, before I die cut, I could have added another piece of that iCraft, the double-sided easy cut adhesive sheet. I didn't think to do that, and honestly I think it was easier to use the liquid adhesive because that gives me a second to wiggle these around and make sure they're straight. Now I'm going to add these onto my card, and you're going to see me, like I said, I kind of struggled with this design a little bit, so you're going to see me adding things, taking away, and don't panic, but in the end I'm going to chop up this background. So right now you can see all 5 colors of those foils on there. And I actually went back and I grabbed those skinny little pieces because they fit perfectly in between. And I thought that I would bring in some flock. So I'm going to mix in some old and new colors of flock transfer sheets. And I'm kind of choosing colors that are going to go along well with these new foil colors. So this one here is Purple Punch. I'm also using Blue Sky, Sunshine Yellow, and Pink Carnation. And I'm going to do a similar thing as I did with the foil. Peel off that backer. Except for flock transfer sheets, you want to put the adhesive into the pretty side. So the fuzzy colored side, you're going to put the adhesive into that. Whereas with the foil, you did pretty side up. This time you're doing pretty side down. But again, I found it easier with these fine frames to lay the flock down and put the adhesive into the flock. All I'm going to do to get these to transfer is grab my die cutting machine and run these through really quick, and that's going to give me the pressure that I need to transfer that adhesive, or the flock rather, into the adhesive. These frames are so skinny. I am very, very carefully pulling these back. I have this sped up. Really, I did this slowly to peel it back. And you can see here the frames from the pressure and everything of my die cutting machine, and my plates are warped. They got a little wonky. Totally okay, because I'm going to use that iCraft Ultra Bond liquid adhesive, which is super strong. And I'm going to adhere these flock frames in between my foil frames, so they will flatten out when I get that adhesive on the back. So here's all 4 of my wonky frames here. I'm going to grab that iCraft Ultra Bond liquid adhesive, and I found it easiest, since I have that fine tip on here, to just add a little fine line of glue in between those foil stripes. Then I'm going to lay my flock in there and just use my fingernails to really press that in, and that's going to help with that misshapenness of my flock frames here. So I'm kind of going in opposite order. You can see the purple foil, the Prince Periwinkle, is the smallest frame. So my biggest frame of my flock is going to be the Purple Punch, and then I'm going to kind of work backwards. So the Blue Sky is my next largest, where it was my second smallest frame of the foil. So I kind of have rainbow order going one way and then coming back the other way, and I just thought that was really eye-catching. So here's what I have so far, and you can kind of see that shininess of the foil and then the fuzziness of the flock, and it's just alternating, shiny and fuzzy, shiny and fuzzy. And this was the idea I was going for, and I stared at this for 2 days, and I hated it. And I hope that you guys, I don't hope that you dislike your things, but I hope that if you do, you kind of walk away from it and come back and fix it. I hope you don't throw them away. I rarely throw things away. I do occasionally, but I try my best to fix it. Because these, I've said before, my products are like my children, and so I will find a way to love them, and even when I don't like what they're doing. So I took my paper trimmer and I cut this whole thing apart. And I used my scissors even to trim away that white cardstock. And I laid these out on my desk, and I messed around with these for probably 10 or 15 minutes, trying to figure out a way to arrange them that looked nice. And I trimmed them, and I rearranged them, and I trimmed them until I got something that I liked. And you see me using a piece of that purple tape there, just to keep things all as one piece so I could kind of work with it so they weren't flying around my workstation. Once I got things how I wanted, I used some Gina K Designs foam tape, and I added this onto some black cardstock because I thought the black really made these new fairy tale foils pop off the page. So of course, if I'm using fairy tale foils, I need to use some fairy tale little fairy godmothers. So I have these little fairies on here, and I'm just going to arrange them also with the Gina K Designs foam squares. And then I use the iCraft 3D foam squares for my sentiment so that it would pop off just a little bit more than those little fairies in the background. To complete this card, I'm just going to grab some liquid shimmer. This is the Spectrum Noir shimmer pen, and I'm going to go all over these fairies, and that's going to complete this card. So thank you guys for taking this ride and taking this journey with me to complete this card. I hope that you are as in love with the new Fairy Tale Deco Foil Transfer Sheets as I am. And thank you all so much for watching. I will see you guys in another video really soon. Bye!